But innovation stage is always a place for startups as well, and we want to start with a startup. This young company is also looking at AI and the connection of AI with quality assurance of components, quality 4.0, how AI assistants are revolutionizing manufacturing. I'm delighted to welcome together with you here Frederik Frey, CEO of Cerpro GmbH from Berlin. Frederik, the stage is yours. Perfect.
Ja, danke für den Applaus.
Thank you very much.
Ja, freut mich natürlich auch heute hier zu sein
auf der EMO. I'm delighted to be here at the EMO and to have this opportunity to be up on stage and to give you a presentation on what we do. By now, we have gained, over the past 3 years, many experiences with AI, with language models, with models that we trained ourselves, and I would like to present these to you, present some use cases to you. But first, I would like to ask a question. Who of you, hopefully all of you, would have worked with ChatGPT in some way? Yes, okay, great. I think half a year ago, when I asked that question, there weren't so many hands. But today that looks a lot better. This will not be a boring presentation. There will be animations, there will be videos, a few use cases from the practical world, which I would like to show you. This will not be a dry presentation. Now let's get going. But first, who am I? I'm Frederik Frey. I am the founder of Cerpro. I come from manufacturing. With my uncle, I started working at a milling factory, and then I studied mechanical engineering. I was active in many companies such as Roland Berger, and now I'm working on the digital transformation in manufacturing 4.0. And today, together with Henrik and Sascha, we have founded this company in order to start the voyage of AI in manufacturing for quality assurance, specifically in the German manufacturing industry. Because often quality is what lacks when it comes to AI, and the manufacturing location Germany needs to be taken to a level where we can still be competitive. But that can only happen if we have the control over certain processes when it comes to AI. Now, before we start, I would like to give you a bold thesis. I think in Germany we do still have enough manufacturing knowledge, but often the access to this knowledge is what's lacking. There's so much documentation. We have many clients in our company who spend 80% of their time with documentation, and 20% they only spend on the actual manufacturing. And of course that needs to change in the future. That Excel war that is happening, that needs to stop when it comes to suppliers, but also when it comes to OEMs. This needs to change. And again, this presentation was made by means of AI. Still, the layout is not perfect, I'm sorry. Right, as I said, knowledge is not where it is needed. It is everywhere, but not where it is needed. Information is trapped in silos. I think all of you know that. There are so many Excel spreadsheets and some RAP systems, and nobody from manufacturing has access to that information. So yeah, manufacturing know-how is actually slowly getting lost. Those of you who have operated the value chain for the past 20, 30 years in Germany, they will have realized that the manufacturing know-how is not really documented. The experience of the manufacturing world is in the heads of people who are now slowly but surely are going to retire at some point. And that is a major problem. Now, the result is, for Germany, for example, a major damage. We're losing more than 4.8 billion euros. That is the productivity loss, because certain processes are simply not digitalized or automated. Now, artificial intelligence is, for the first time, a major window of opportunities. A quality promise comes with it.
Ja, lang bei Industrie 4.0, da ist bisher, glaube ich, immer
For
nicht
Industry
wirklich
4.0,
diese
I
Wertschöpfung entstanden, die
think
Industrie 4.0
this
versprochen hat. Bei künstlicher Intelligenz
this
sehen wir
value
jetzt
creation
mittlerweile
has
schon
not happened yet,
sehr
but
starkes
for artificial
Wertversprechen.
intelligence,
Wir sind
there's a
mittlerweile
major
mit
value
ja,
promise.
KI-Use-Cases bei Kunden live, die
AI
mindestens
use
50% der Zeit
cases
sparen, Plug and Play und
for
direkt anfangen
clients
können.
really means
Und
that they
dieses
can save
Fenster
50% of
eröffnet sich
time, a
eigentlich
lot
jetzt
of
eben
money,
mit
and this
ChatGPT und allen Sprachmodellen,
window is
die zur
opening up
Verfügung
through
stehen,
the
sowohl beim
language models
Programmieren als
through
auch
ChatGPT,
ja, Dokumente
as
auslesen, da
as well
entsteht
as
die
for
unheimliche Wucht. Und wenn man die jetzt nutzt und
assessing
natürlich
documents.
feintunt und anpasst auf
And
gewisse
if we
Use Cases, kann
fine-tune
da was ganz Großes
these
entstehen. Und
AI
das sehen wir bei
models
der
for
Cerpro vor
certain
allem.
use cases a lot,
Genau.
we can
Aber wenn wir
really
mal über
profit
KI
a lot.
sprechen,
Now, if we
und
talk
dann ein
about
bisschen Licht ins Dunkel
AI
bringen,
and
ja, ist, glaube ich, auch mal ganz
bring
wichtig,
some
darüber
light
zu
to
reden.
the
Ich glaube,
darkness
aktuell
here,
ist
I think
KI in aller
currently
Munde.
AI
Und
is
jeder spricht über
everywhere.
KI,
Everybody's
aber
talking
da mal eine
about
vielleicht eine kurze
AI,
Einordnung, bevor wir
but
da
I would
tiefer
like
eintauchen.
to give you an
Ich glaube,
AI
ganz
overview
drüber
before
KI,
we
künstliche
go in
Intelligenz
deeper.
ist auf jeden Fall mal
AI
einfach zu
generally
sagen, einer Maschine mal
is
gewisse
a
Aufgaben beizubringen,
machine that takes over
wo
certain
natürlich auch
tasks
Entscheidungen gefällt werden können.
where certain
Maschinelles Lernen
decisions
ist dann
need to
natürlich ein
be
Beispiel drunter, also
taken.
letztendlich eine
That's the
Methodik, die in der
upper
künstlichen
level, then
Intelligenz zu
the
finden
machine
ist.
learning.
Sprich, ich glaube, jeder von Ihnen, weiß nicht, ob
I
ihr alle
think
Kinder habt, aber
all of you,
es ist wie wenn
well,
man einem
many
Kind
of you
Fahrradfahren
might have
beibringt, ja.
children.
Braucht's viele
This is
Versuche.
similar
Irgendwann
to
lernt es
teaching a
dann
child how
Fahrradfahren
to
und dann
ride a
geht's natürlich
bike.
weiter. Genau dann das nächste generative
And then the
KI ist
next
natürlich
step,
noch mal einen Schritt
generative
tiefer. Das ist
AI,
jetzt die
that is
Möglichkeit,
going even deeper. This
Dinge
is
zu
the
erstellen,
opportunity
die
to
vorher gar
create
nicht da
things
waren. Also
that
ich glaube,
weren't
jeder kennt
even
zum Beispiel
there
das
before.
WO3, um Videos
The
zu generieren.
WO3, for example, to create videos from prompts, and the video was not existing, and then AI creates entirely new contexts and videos. So that is a subgroup here, and then what all of you will know, that's ChatGPT, the traditional play of Q&A. You ask a question, and ChatGPT or Gemini will give you an answer. And that is a source for knowledge, of course, and this can be used in order to tackle certain challenges, get replies to answers, or generate an email, for example. Right, that was a quick overview of what we're actually talking about when we talk about AI and generative AI and machine learning. Now, this is where it gets even more interesting with the AI agents.
Das ist natürlich hier auch der Vortrag. Das geht der Vortrag hier auch.
That's essentially what this presentation is about. AI agents are small helpers, digital employees who work in quality assurance in your company. They have certain tasks. They have tasks they are supposed to do. And AI you give them specific instructions and they implement them. On the left-hand side, they have the whole range of tools from the AI world, plus the specific instructions, and the tool kit is the AI agent equipped with a certain business logic. Now, let's assume that the task is an analysis of incoming technical drawings and to find relevant measurements and prepare test report. I think maybe all of you have seen this prompt, this task in the practical world. Creating these test reports is a rather complicated task. You will all know that. And an AI agent can really be useful here. And there's two areas that these AI agents need to understand. On the right-hand side, the business logic. And then, of course, on the left-hand side, the understanding for the manufacturing itself. The logic here, the business logic is quite simple. There's a process. I have an algorithm that I'm teaching the agent. So that's the retrieval of the drawing, analyze the drawing, put it into the right format, and then transfer the information to the ERP. Here on the left, this is where it gets more interesting. That's the understanding for manufacturing. ChatGPT, you might have tested this already. Making ChatGPT, creating a technical drawing, that's complicated. And that is what we are working on intensively, coming up with models who have an understanding for manufacturing like humans do, humans who have manufacturing experience for 30, 40 years. That's what we're trying to teach these agents in order to come up with these technical drawings like people who have worked in manufacturing for 30 to 40 years. Because so far the ChatGPT is not able to do that. There's CAT models who can be introduced here, manufacturing processes, machine parts, all of these information need to go in, and we're trying to teach all of that, teach these agents, these models, all of that. Now, we are working together with leading universities, the RWTH in Aachen and the University of Kempten, in order to train the models. Our basic models is based on 80,000 technical drawings from different industries that our model can already reach, and it can use that for process automation. Now let's go a little bit deeper into the manufacturing process. And I think you will be able to relate to that. Let's look at quality assurance. The quality assurance process starts on the left with the OEM, where the manufacturing information is first generated and transferred to the auto manufacturers, the technical drawing, and the step model. And then the supplier, of course, is confronted with a major task. That's the retrieval of the information from the drawing. Looking at the model, often the two don't fit together, the drawing and the information, and then the 3D model doesn't fit the drawing, and so on. So they need to get an overview whether or not they can manufacture the part. What are the costs? Those are the questions that arise. So from the beginning on, from the sharing, from the preparation, from the measurement, this is an Excel and PDF-based process. Of course, all of this is done by means of emails. Then the auto manufacturers manufacture the parts, it's measured, then the measurement details are inserted into the model, and then it goes back to the OEM, and it's a major back and forth of emails. So manufacturing information, sharing those with the manufacturers and the OEM is a very, very complicated process. It takes a lot of time. That is done mostly manually at the moment. Now, our platform offers a different approach. In the first step, we try to implement agents who automate the RFQ and the order process, so that if I get the manufacturing information and share it with the order manufacturers, the information is provided in a certain way, then of course the feasibility and test reports are automatically generated, and step number 3, all of the documents that should be there will be updated so that we don't always need to start all over again from the beginning for any manufacturing processes. So all of the manufacturers who get the orders from the OEMs, so that they do not always need to do new feasibility and test reports. And then in the fourth steps, the agent transfers the information back to the OEM. Right. Let's look at this more. Let's look at this in a more detailed way. There are the 4 steps. Let's start with the first one. That is the part of the components request, and we have the order agent, who is then order to place the order with the OEM a lot faster. There is a video here for this first agent in order to look at the RFQ process and how it is accelerated by the agent, so that the supplier gets all of the information in one place. Right, so as soon as the order reaches the email program of the OEM. There is a new order here, new order found, that's what it says, you can see that here. Then the order is imported, it is analyzes, and then our agent comes in, retrieves all the information from all of the documents and tests and assesses whether this part has ever been manufactured before. Are there critical tolerances, for example? So the order process is then initiated. Right, so everything that the supplier so far would be manually testing whether this had been manufactured before. Are there any specific tolerances, specific information that is needed? Are there similarities to previous manufacturing processes? Those are the things that are manually done these days. This agent does that a lot faster. Time and cost savings are at up to 5 hours per week per employee, and of course a major cost saving for the automation of the RFQ process only, that's more than 6,000 euros per year. Now let's look at this next agent. The next question comes in here. How can I test the feasibility, whether I can actually manufacture this component, this part? Because if I find out that I've never manufactured it before, I need to, of course, find out whether I actually can. Now, the manufacturing understanding is what the agent uses in order to generate the needed documents. The agent comes in here, looks at the manufacturing information, assesses whether it is actually feasible. Oh, this is a new part. I need a risk management report. I need a feasibility report. We test all the measurements. We assess the drawing, and then there will be assessment on whether it's feasible or not, and maybe in how far. And then sometimes the manufacturer goes back and looks at the drawing again because there's something had not been clear, or a part of it is not manufactured, he's not able to manufacture. And if everything is then fine, the process is feasible. The first test plans and test reports are generated by the agent in an automated way. Everything is documented automatically. For many businesses, these feasibility reports and the documentation linked to that are a major pain. There's so much, it takes so much time, so our agent does all of that automatically. Now, with this, we again have a major time and cost saving. Our agents are already active with 80 businesses, and those of you who will have generated such a test report know that it involves up to 40 drawings and that it takes a lot of time. So this is the time and cost saving. Now, our third agent, that's about updating documents of reports that already have been generated. Currently, it's usually the case that manufacturing businesses start processes all over again for every manufacturing process. So with this, we want to, of course, transfer information more directly. That's the next agent in the process chain here. As soon as I have a component that is similar to a previous one, of course, I can import the measurement data, transfer it to the machine. It is then processed. Of course, I can see automatically what is right and what is wrong, what's going to work and what is not. Of course, I can then get the FMAA documents and update them. I don't need to go back myself into all the previous documents, look for the mistakes and correct them. And this is where we come in, and we find out which documents need to be updated, such as, for example, in the FMAA. Right, this is the time and cost savings for this agent.
abgedatet werden müssen und mir einen Vorschlag gibt, was da gemacht hat, dass ich nur noch gegenprüfen
These
muss.
agents automatically provide me with all of the information that I need. This is the fourth agent. At the end of the supply chain, the components have been manufactured, and at the end, of course, there always needs to be a summary of all of the documentation, a summary of the inspection reports and the claims, the complaints, and this is where our agent comes in, and we try to use the business logic and the intelligence to come up with these summaries, to summarize the documents, and to create a PDF of a summary of all of the reports and transfer that back to the OEM and the manufacturers. If the manufacturers work together with our platform, they get the technical documents from all of the different suppliers and OEMs, and from that they can generate a well-founded quality assurance and documentation on the quality in a digitalized way in the platform, which provides them with a great overview of all of the information they need for the agents that they supply, and they get all of the information they need in order to make future decisions. So there's an overall major time and cost saving per employee from the supplier, from the OEM to the last supplier, the last deliverer. Now, our vision, in summary, is of course that we automate the entire quality assurance process by simplifying documentation through our platform, and to provide a manufacturing brain to the manufacturing world, a brain that combines and saves information and provides it to those who need it in the future. Now, if you have any question, we are in the startup area. You can come over, have a beer. We already have beer at this time of the day. If not now, come by later. Thank you very much.
Frederik, ganz lieben Dank.
Frederik, thank you very much.
Dann kann ich mit dir sprechen. Ganz lieben Dank, Spitzenvortrag.
Thank you, great presentation. I do have some questions. We will have a look whether there are questions on Slido, but I have a question first. You talked about the savings a lot. Is that per process within one manufacturing process, or is that the general savings? No, that was per manufacturing process. Have you also looked at what the sum of savings would be for a business? Well, eventually, we always start with the first agents and bring them in. That's only a vision that I showed you. So one fact that may be interesting for you, so the agents who come up with the test reports, they use the technical documentation and come up with a test report from that. We're at savings of more than 80%. That's the time saving, 80%. But a total saving we have not calculated generally for a business, because all of the agents are not live in the businesses, but the agents who create the test reports and the quality assurance documentation is simplified. Of course, that comes with more than 80% time savings, and the costs. That's a floating license of 2,400 euro per year. The aerospace suppliers, for example, they come up with the test reports of 40 pages or even more. Sometimes that takes more than a week. We do that within hours. The product is already amortized on the first day, I think. So FMIA, that's something you mentioned. That is a major tool, a major instrument. So I think there's two scenarios. Usually, we make sure that we don't forget anything in the failure mode and effects analysis. And the tool that is there to take the human element out. So what is the opportunity that you see there? It's a great question. Thank you. So the problem here is, of course, is that currently I cannot tell the AI, do that process and that's it, and I don't check that again. So anything that you hear here at the trade show, there always needs to be the human interloop. We always need the human who checks the AI again and assesses it, but there is a major time saving because I only need the 20% of time and not the 80% in order to check these reports. Yes, of course. We talked about AI agents a lot. That is something that we will talk about for the entire week. So I'm a business now, and I approach you and I want to build this up. What is the effort to generate these AI agents? Now let's start at the beginning with the test reports, with the automatic transfer of the test data. So EIO, NEO, I need to feed the agent. What's the effort there? Yeah, the effort is kind of small because it's a plug-and-play system. I load up my drawings. It is set up for 85,000 drawings, actually, and it doesn't care where these drawings come from and what the size is. We are strongly integrated in RAP systems, and via prompts we can come up with these automated tasks. That's pretty simple. A question that we'd have to ask with any AI presentation, it is a cloud-based platform, right? So I insert my drawings. I hope the audience will agree. That is my intellectual property. So often these are relevant for competition, and there's sensitive data. How do I make sure that they stay within that framework? How can I discuss that with something with ChatGPT with data protection? So I feed in my data and then I make it available for other clients. How does that work? Right. This intelligence is of course available for everybody. We train the model. We do not directly use the data for training. So when there's an error in the document, the model doesn't learn from that directly. It is us that train the model. We have also a hybrid option, a hybrid model. If the drawings are not saved with us, the drawings stay where they are, and it is saved where it is, and it is not going into our cloud. But the parts of the drawing, the measurements, can be assessed without the context, so that is also possible. It is yeah, absolutely wonderful. Thank you very much for your presentation. I think this was very tangible for everybody here. So thank you very much. Frederik Frey, ladies and gentlemen. Thank you.